Welcome to Betrayal Stories. In today's video, when two people want each other in secret, the world may never say the words out loud, but the energy always does. There is something almost ghostly about it, something magnetic, something forbidden, something that lives in the space between what the eyes pretend not to see and what the heart refuses to hide. Two souls can stand in a room filled with people and still feel as if they're the only ones there. They act calm, they act indifferent, they act like everything is normal. But underneath the surface, there is a storm that no one else notices. It's the kind of connection that doesn't need physical touch or declarations or brave confessions. It speaks through silence. It screams through stillness. It breathes through a single glance. And if you've ever been in a situation where you wondered whether the other person felt what you felt, pay attention. Because the truth hides in the details most people overlook. It begins with something quiet, something almost invisible. The shift in energy when they enter a room. You don't have to see them with your eyes to know they're near. Your body reacts before your mind understands why. Your heartbeat picks up, your posture changes. Your thoughts sharpen as if someone just whispered your name without making a sound. You don't plan it. You don't control it. It just happens. And here's the psychological truth behind it. When attraction is mutual, the nervous system responds automatically. The body anticipates connection before the brain has time to analyze what's happening. You feel more awake, more alive, slightly nervous, yet strangely comforted. And if you look closely, they react the same way. Watch how they behave when they notice you. They may pretend not to, but their actions betray them. They fix their hair, straighten their clothes, adjust their posture. Their eyes brighten in a way they can't hide. Their breath shifts. Their voice changes. This is not coincidence. It is subconscious signaling. Humans instinctively present the best version of themselves around someone they desire, even when they try to play it cool. And both of you try so hard to stay composed. But deep inside, your bodies are communicating secrets your mouths don't dare to speak. Then comes the moment that always reveals the truth. The eye contact that lasts 1 second too long. That accidental meeting of eyes that feels like a collision. Soft but intense, brief yet eternal. If the connection were nothing, it would feel like nothing. But it doesn't. It feels charged, heavy, significant. Like time froze just for you two. The eyes linger long enough to say something neither of you is brave enough to voice. That one moment can hold an entire conversation. Fear, desire, curiosity. Longing wrapped into a single glance. Psychologically, this is where things start to deepen. When two people like each other, the brain becomes hyper-aware of the smallest details. You start noticing their hands, their smile, the sound of their laughter, the tone of their voice. You observe little things they don't even know they do, the way they fidget, the way they bite their lip when they're thinking, the way they look away when they're nervous. And they notice things about you too. You don't stare. They don't stare. But you both look again and again, quietly, carefully, hoping the other person doesn't catch you. Yet secretly wanting them to. This kind of connection is confusing because it feels bigger than logic. It almost scares you. You don't know why you're drawn to them. You just are. You replay conversations in your head. You analyze moments that should have been ordinary but felt anything but. You start wondering what they were thinking, whether they noticed the same spark, whether they felt the same shift in the air. And if you've experienced this, then you already know. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is attraction trying to break through the surface. And here comes the second sign. The one most people never acknowledge but always feel. Conversations that feel heavier, deeper, more meaningful than they should. Even if the words are simple, the emotional weight behind them is not. A simple, "How was your day?" suddenly feels personal, intimate, as if they aren't just asking out of politeness. They genuinely want to know. Their voice softens. Their tone changes. The way they speak to you feels different from how they talk to everyone else. And without realizing, you do it too. The conversation becomes a dance, subtle, soft, Filled with coded meaning neither of you acknowledges yet, both of you. Understand, most conversations in life are shallow, quick, routine. But when two people secretly care for each other, autopilot disappears. They start revealing pieces of themselves without noticing. They tell you things they don't usually share: dreams, fears, frustrations, hopes, secrets. They open up in ways they don't with others. Why? Because attraction creates emotional safety faster than friendship. It makes vulnerability feel natural. Notice their body language when you talk. They lean slightly closer without realizing. Their eyes stay on you longer. They listen differently, fully present, fully engaged, absorbing every word. They remember the small details. You mention the things most people forget within minutes. Not because they're trying to impress you, but because you matter. And you remember their details too. Their favorite drink, the way they describe something, the joke they made 3 weeks ago that still echoes in your mind. Your memory keeps them because your heart does. Then there's the jealousy, quiet, hidden, barely noticeable, yet incredibly revealing. Not loud or dramatic jealousy. Just subtle flashes of discomfort when someone else stands too close to you or makes you laugh or takes too much of your attention. You see the slight shift in their eyes, the tightened smile, the change in posture. They act unbothered, but you know better, and you feel it too. When someone else is too comfortable with them, you feel that internal pinch, that quiet sting. Even if you hide it behind a smile. This is not possession. It's emotional significance. It's the mind reacting to the possibility of losing something it hasn't even fully claimed. It's the subconscious saying, I care about this person more than I want to admit. And here's the beautiful part. Attraction doesn't require constant communication. You don't need to talk all the time. You don't need to message every day. The connection isn't about frequency, it's about intensity. You can go days without speaking, and when the conversation returns, it flows like it never stopped. Like the emotional thread between you never broke. That is emotional imprinting, the mind marking someone is important and refusing to let go. But now we enter the deeper layers. It's the ones people are afraid to admit, even to themselves. When two people secretly like each other, they start treating each other differently in the small, subtle ways. Not grand gestures. Not dramatic proclamations. But soft, quiet differences only two people in the connection would recognize. They notice when your mood shifts. They sense your silence. They pick up on your emotional changes before anyone else does. If you're upset, they feel it. If you're quieter than usual, they ask what's wrong. They care in ways they don't care about others. And you do the same for them. You hear the heaviness in their voice, even if they say they're fine. You read their eyes like a language only you understand. Intuition becomes sharper. Emotions become transparent. You become attuned to each other. This is what psychology calls emotional prioritization. The brain starts giving someone special treatment automatically. Their messages feel different. Their presence feels different. Their absence feels different. They become an emotional anchor without either of you meaning for it to happen. Then comes the nervousness, the charming. Undeniable nervousness. Not awkwardness, not immaturity, but subtle tension caused by wanting to hide feelings that refuse to stay hidden. They may seem confident around everyone else, but slightly different with you, more careful with their words. More aware of their appearance, more conscious of your reaction. They fidget, they play with their hands, they adjust their clothes, they laugh at things that aren't even funny. Attraction activates the stress response. The brain becomes hyper-aware of the person it desires, but perhaps the strongest sign of all is how they respond to your absence. When you walk away, they glance after you. When you take too long to reply, they notice. When you go quiet, they feel the silence. They may not say it, but their behavior reveals the truth. They check your stories, like your posts, react to your updates, not obsessively, but consistently. They create moments of interaction just to feel connected to you. A random message, a small joke, a meaningless comment that carries meaningful intention. Sometimes they pull back, then return. Sometimes they get distant, then suddenly warm. This push and pull is not a game, it's fear. Fear of wanting you too much. Fear of revealing too much. Fear of losing something that hasn't even begun. Mutual attraction is terrifying because it feels like a risk. Both people stand at the edge of confession, wanting to jump but afraid to fall alone. You don't want to ruin the friendship. They fear rejection. You fear misreading the signs. They fear revealing too much. And so both of you stay silent, living in the tension, the nearly, the unspoken. But the body always finds ways to speak. There is a moment during every goodbye where the truth reveals itself. Not when you're laughing or talking or flirting, but in the second right before you part ways. The way they pause, the hesitation in their voice, the subtle delay like their brain wants to stay even though logic tells them to leave. Goodbyes never feel simple. They feel unfinished, like something important was left unsaid. And in that tiny pause lives an entire universe of longing. When you're gone, the echo of your presence stays with them. They replay conversations, relive glances, reimagine moments. They think about what they should have said, what they wish they could say, what they hope you understood without words. And you do it too. You check your phone, hoping for a message. You wonder if they're thinking about you. You wait for a sign that the connection wasn't just in your mind. Even silence becomes communication. If you don't show up one day, they notice. If you don't reply, they wonder why. If you distance yourself, they feel it instantly. Because when someone becomes emotionally relevant, their absence creates a void. There is also the territorial instinct, the soft, quiet kind that never gets spoken aloud but always appears in the eyes. When someone else flirts with you, their expression changes. Not dramatically, but noticeably. They shift, they watch, they observe. Their body stiffens for a second. Not because they want to control you, but because they fear losing the emotional space they've secretly claimed.